All right, page 7. Let's get to item number 3, and that is the application date. And the first thing I want you to understand is that this is not the same as TRID. It's not the same as Reg B. In fact, HMDA does not have a definition for completed application. It just has application. And we talked about that in our coverage webinar or our A to Z webinar, both of those, if you attended those. So I'm not going to repeat all that, but it's the date that you basically have a request for credit. Now, this is the first one where I'll show you there's kind of a round peg in a square hole mentality. There's some wiggle room. And it tells you that you can go with the date that you received the app. Notice I bolded that, hint, hint. Or the date on the application form. In other words, maybe I filled this out at home and I brought it into you 2 weeks later. Well, I would recommend that you always date when you receive the application. Why? This is one of the tests examiners are using is how long does it take you to close or take action? So application to closing is a test. If you go with the day that they put on the application form, and that's been sitting on their kitchen table for 2 weeks or a month or whatever, it just looks bad, I think. It makes it look like you're doing something wrong. Now, there's some more information in there. We're not going to cover everything in this manual, but you have more. But I do want to draw you down to letter C. I like to call this the Mulligan rule. And the Mulligan rule basically is that when you have a HMDA application, and let's say you've taken some kind of action, you can revive them sometimes. So let me give it a scenario. Maybe I tell Diane, I'm sorry, we can't do 100,000, but we could do 90, and I counteroffer her. And Diane comes back to me and says, no, I can't do that. So I say, okay, well, that's a denial then. I'm going to put that on my loan application register as a denial. I'm not telling her this. I'm just doing it internally. And I start to process it to close it out. And then Diane gets a hold of me the next day. And she says, we got to thinking about that. We can go with 90. Now, I have 2 options. One, I can say, sorry, I've closed that out. I'm going to start a new application. I may not even have to have her involved. I could just do that. Or 2, I could pull the mulligan, if you will, reinstate her application. It's really an operational procedural thing, and it's your call which way you want to go with that. HMDA gives you that liberty to pick that out.